Today we have our last study in the book of Ruth and Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman. We really don't have any passage from Proverbs 31, but from the book of Ruth, starting in chapter 4, verse 13, we have the story of what actually took place after Boaz redeemed Naomi and Ruth. Verse 13, so Boaz took Ruth, she became his wife. He had relations with her, and the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women said to Naomi, blessed is the Lord who has not left you without a redeemer today. May his name become famous in Israel. May he also be to you one who restores life and sustains your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons, has given birth to him. His name was Obed. That means a servant of the Lord. And at the end of the book of Ruth, these are the generations of Perez. Perez fathered Hezron. Hezron fathered Ram. Ram, Amminadab. Amminadab fathered Nahshon. Nahshon fathered Salmon. Salmon fathered Boaz. Boaz fathered Obed. Obed fathered Jesse. And Jesse fathered David. Now, this is the first mention of David. This is probably part of the intent of the entire book of Ruth. From the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 3. No Ammonite or Moabite or any of their descendants for 10 generations may be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. And yet David is the grandson of a Moabite woman. What in the world happened there? Well, this is what happened. Although Ruth is the biological mother of Obed, who is the grandfather of David, 3 generations removed, certainly within the 10 generations that can't join the assembly. Although that's true, what actually happens is that the firstborn son is not recognized as Ruth's son. The firstborn son goes to Naomi to extend Elimelech's line. And so Naomi raises Obed as her own child. The fact of genetics, a Moabite gene pool, has nothing to do here. What is at play is the fact that Obed is raised in the Jewish line. He is Elimelech's son, even though Boaz and Ruth are father and mother. He's recognized as Elimelech's son through Naomi. For those detractors of David who might be saying, oh, David can't be king, he can't even go into the temple. The response, according to the book of Ruth, is, oh no, David is Naomi's son. This was legally true, although not genetically true. But the issue in the book of Deuteronomy is not the issue of genetics. It's the issue of how was this boy raised. If he was raised as a Moabite, no, he can't go into the temple. But he wasn't. He was raised. In fact, Ruth actually became Jewish. She joined the Jewish nation. So anyone who would say that David is the grandson of a Moabite woman would be confronted in the book of Ruth by this reality. Now, what does this have to do with friendship? Well, it seems to me that here Ruth is very, very careful to follow the laws and the regulations. Boaz is as well. He's very careful to make sure that he has the permission to redeem Ruth, and once he's done so, he marries her according to Jewish custom. Ruth has essentially converted to Judaism, both as a religion, and as a nationality. So, what seems to me to be conveyed here is the importance of being accountable in a friendship. Friends, uh, good friends, best friends, are those who have the permission to call you out. They're those who can speak to you about what you're doing, and specifically about what you are doing wrong. In the book of James, James chapter 5, verse 16, we see this verse. Confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The earnest prayer of a righteous man has great power and produces wonderful results. That short snippet of a verse, I memorized it in King James. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. That's in the context of confession, of mutual confrontation. One of the things that we do find is the importance of accountability in friendship. You need a friend close enough to be able to call you out, to tell you when you're doing something wrong. They would do it because they love you, because they recognize that you need to grow. We've looked at Proverbs 31 and the book of Ruth as the story of a virtuous man and a virtuous woman who come together and learn from each other. Together, they actually are part of the lineage that ends up with Jesus on the throne of David. How do you build lasting friendships? Proverbs 31 has a lot to tell us. Ruth has a lot to tell us. I hope you've enjoyed this study. I hope you've learned some of what it takes to build long-lasting friendships.